Podcast.
Hello and welcome to podcast. I'm Idris and with me is
Ayushe?
and today we have a special guest here one more time, Mr. Veda Vyas, who is a life coach at Zest in Life and also he is a nuclear scientist. A very warm welcome to our studio.
Thank you, Idris.
Sir, today I was wondering what to discuss. So then a thing came into my mind, that is how to decide, that is simply decision making. What is it? How can we make better decisions in our life?
First, we have to understand how do we decide.
Right.
So, when we want to make a decision and unable to, that means we either don't know enough information or we have multiple choices.
Right.
Okay? If you don't have enough information, you can't make decision unless you get that information. So you have to go get that information. So that is the first decision that you have to make.
Right.
To get the information. You can't make the decision without getting the information.
Correct.
The second case, when you have multiple options, what really happens is, it's not about the options. All options are good. Their consequences may be bad, but the options are good. That's why you are considering them.
Right.
When you are trying to make a decision and you feel there is an option, then there is an emotion associated with each option.
Right.
Okay? To a certain extent, you feel excited about taking that option, and to some extent, you feel apprehensive, or it will feel whether it is right, what will happen. So there's a lot of questions that come up.
Right.
For each option, both sides are there. Decision is clear when apprehension is low towards an option, and you feel a lot of excitement or positive about that option. Okay? And if you don't have many options like that, you only have one option that is you are excited about, then your decision is made. But in case you have multiple options which similar power of excitement are there and you're torn about using which path.
Right.
Or all the options are equally bad, are creating a lot of apprehension,
Right.
then you have trouble taking decision. So, despite decision being justified usually by logic, the truth is 99.9% of decisions are emotional.
Right. So you mean to say that emotions play a very critical role in our decision making?
Emotions take decisions.
Right.
Most of the time.
Almost all the time.
Okay.
What really happens is we take a decision, then we think about why this, I want to explain the decision, how would I explain it? Then you create the logical conclusion about why you came to that decision. Because you can create the same logical conclusion about any option that you have. You are just comfortable about this decision because this feels more positive. Feels is emotion.
But there are at times situations where we take a decision, the decision is done, and then we start thinking about that decision, whether it was right or it was wrong, or we made a right choice, or was it a wrong choice. So how do we deal with such things?
So that is a separate decision. Okay. So what happens is temporarily in different situations, certain options can feel attractive or certain options become scary.
Right.
That's how decisions are influenced. Like when you are watching an ad video, they influence our emotions.
Correct.
Suddenly we feel something that is very harmful also is very amazing. So inhibitions are lowered and excitement is increased. Okay? So when you do that, what happens? Decision making becomes easier.
Right.
That's a sales technique.
Yes.
Okay? Any good salesperson understands that there are a lot of inhibitions in the client.
Right.
And there is not enough excitement. So their job is to reduce those inhibitions, reassure the client, and create excitement about the product. So you are influencing the decision. That is advertisement.
Right.
So temporarily different situations can be created where a person's decision making can be affected by reducing the inhibitions and increasing excitement about certain options. provided the person making decision is open to such, if they allow it. If they, otherwise, they are immune to that. There are some people who are very hard to sell. No matter what, they'll stick to themselves.
Right.
I know this is not good for me, I will not take it. Okay? So, depending upon how much a person allows influence, this temporarily can happen. And sometimes, in ourselves, we are addicted to something. And because of our own addiction, we have reduced inhibition there and increased excitement. Then we naturally tend to choose that, then regret it. So decision making is very emotional. And what are the emotions that are creating that decision? That's a huge topic again. Okay? In different situations, there are different things happening.
Well, I really appreciate the way you explained and gave the example of this advertisements, which create an emotion, which help the sellers to create some emotions and sell their product in a nice way, in a better way. So that was really lovely example. I really appreciate that. Now coming to how can we make right decisions? Shall we go with the emotions or shall we go with the logic or combination of both?
There is no logic. First you need to accept that decision making is not about logic.
But I think it can be logical too.
Logic is a consequence, not the cause.
How?
Once you have decided, you need to explain your decision, right? That creates logic. So it's a consequence.
See, the thing is, I'm in a situation where I have two options, right? As you said, either there are no options, there are like lot of options, right? So now I have two options. What do I go with? Shall I go with the feelings or shall I go with the logic? So I know.
There is no logic, first of all.
How? Why not?
Both sides, there are feelings.
How? You need to explain me, sir.
When you are saying logical, how do you feel?
Definitely, logic is there if I...
No, I'm asking
see,
you.
Let's suppose I have
Think first. You're trying to just say, but give yourself a moment and understand the question. When you are saying some option is logical, how are you feeling about it?
I will go with the logic, definitely.
Again, I'm asking feelings.
Feeling is there, of course.
Now, what are you feeling about it?
I feel that is right. If option B is better for me.
Right is not an emotion. Right is a judgment. Before coming to the judgment, what is the feeling?
Feeling is there, I understand. But
No,
see,
check that feeling. Observe.
maybe I have option A and option B. Let's say two companies, two offers, both are big companies and both offer better salaries. So logically or feeling wise, I feel equally both for them.
Did you at least observe the feeling? Because you are not able to speak about the emotion.
Emotion is there. I said both the companies.
What is the emotion?
Excitement. I'm happy.
You are
I got both the offers. I'm really happy
you
with
are
that.
happy about getting two offers. Now, decision making is not about being happy about two offers. Decision making is about
choosing one of
them. So now, when you have to choose one of them, each of them, there is a separate emotion there. Okay,
it might be there. Yeah.
Yeah, it is there. I'm asking, what is the emotion there? Because we are speaking about decision making. It's not about having lot of options. You are very happy with lot of options. That's fine. That won't create a decision, right?
That's one level of happiness, of course. I understand. But there are two options when I have to choose one of them, and both are equally good.
No.
Then I think I can use my logic. I mean,
again, using your logic, the logic itself is derived from emotion. So what is the emotion that is driving this logic at this point of time?
I think logic will depend on data.
The data will depend on emotion.
How?
For example, if you are happy, what kind of data will you see?
I'll see what makes me happy, what all things
Exactly.
are right.
If you are sad, what kind of data will you see?
I'll see what has made me sad. So I'll make a list.
Right? So that is the data. That data is affected by emotion. Then based on that data you will make a logic. So your logic is a consequence of
emotions.
Right?
Right.
So logic doesn't exist as a drive. Logic is a consequence. It will make us feel like we have made an intelligent decision. Actually, it is the emotion that's driving all the way. But we have not gone deep into the process of decision making. We have not understood it. We feel like we are making decisions because we have to choose something we have chosen. It's basically consequence of restlessness. You have two options and there is a deadline after which this option will go away. The fear of missing out, it's called FOMO these days, right? The FOMO will force you to make an option, choice. So this restlessness is creating a necessity for making choice. So logic really doesn't play a role. It's only that you are afraid, so you have to choose one, and which, because both are equally good, right? Then finally you'll ask someone else, and they'll make you feel, reduce the inhibition towards one of the options, and increase the excitement towards something else, and then because of that you'll make a decision. Because by yourself you are not able to reduce the inhibition or increase the excitement. That's when you take help of other people to make the decision.
Right.
And then you call it as a data and logical solution. So the decision making process, if we go deep, is based on emotions. Logic is a consequence. And the data itself we use for that logic is based on which emotions are manipulated or increased or reduced. If you reduce fear and increase excitement, then the decision is very easy. Or if the decision can also be influenced by making one of the options more fearful and less exciting, then the other option is taken. So the whole decision making process itself is all about playing with emotions. And because of playing with emotions, the data set you consider changes. And based on the data set that you change, your decision changes and logic changes. So logic is a consequence of decision. Logic is not cause of decision.
But I still feel data will play a critical role.
Data does play a critical role.
The logic, I'll explain how
let me tell you.
Yeah.
Data plays a critical role in showing people how good a decision is. It's not about making decision.
But practically, what will be, the end result is based on the logic in a particular decision. For example,
logic will always be there.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But it is not the cause; it's a consequence.
But it plays a critical role in decision making, of course.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
It plays a critical role in explaining yourself.
No, not necessarily. I have
does.
two job options. So how will I go about it? How I make decisions?
The reality is
the emotion is there. Both companies are good.
Finally, the reality is, if you feel that both our companies are equally good, then you will take external data of someone else's fear or someone else's excitement will play a role.
Not necessarily. I can make it myself also, because I can compare both the jobs in various different data,
yes,
based on salary, based on shift, based on offs.
You will do a lot of research. You will do a lot of research. You will have a lot of data. But finally, what data you will consider for making decisions is based on emotional state. Just like I asked you, if you are happy, you will consider different data. If you are sad, you will consider different data. So data is, all sort of data is available, but which data will cause the decision, which logic will be used to make decision, depends upon your emotional state. Do you understand what I am saying? Data is right, data is there, you will do a lot of research. I am not saying that data is not available and your data is wrong or your logical conclusions are wrong. They are all right. But what set of data, what part of data you will see is based on, which becomes valid for that decision, depends upon emotion. There will be hundreds of data, but you will make decision based on maybe 10 or 20 of the part.
Definitely, what suits me, I'll choose that.
What suits me? What is deciding that?
That depends on my timings, that depends on my personal life.
Exactly. When you're saying timings and my personal life, then there is an emotion associated with them, right?
Yeah, of course. Emotion. I'm not saying emotion is not important. I said logic can also be important.
Logic is there, it will be there, but it is a consequence. But when the moment you are saying my personal life will be affected like this in this company, but like that in that company, then inhibitions are raising, right? So emotions are changing. The moment your data says they give a lot of flexibility and work from home, and if you like work from home, you'll get excited. If you feel that home is a hell to stay, the emotion part comes, then you'll say, I don't want work from home. I want to go to a company where I'll go and work there in the office. Right? So data is there, logics are there. The point is, what is driving the data and logic is how you feel about it, each of the data. You understand?
Yeah, right. Of course.
So what data becomes important depends upon which emotions and triggers are driving inside you, which emotions are more intense than others. Like for me, personal life is very important. What made it so important? Because their emotions involved are more intense. For me, flexibility is very important. What made it so important? They'll say my family is there, I have to take care of kids, I have to take care of, I want my own free time also, otherwise I'll go insane. All these things again, where are they rooted in? The emotional triggers, right?
Right.
So if you really want to look at the decision, how it's happening, you have to look at the emotions. What role each and every data point that you are considering in emotional state, and what is the intensity. Then you will know, why am I making these decisions like this? Is it something related to impulsive, or is it really well thought of? If you are aware of your own emotions and know that, okay, these, if I do it this way, then my triggers, I'll get more angry. If I do this way, it'll become more sad. If I do it this way, then I'll be a little bit comfortable. It won't be so bad, right? So then when we are aware about it, then we'll make conscious decisions. If we are not aware of it, as you say, we'll make logical decisions.
Right.
But actually they are not logical. They are again unconscious decisions. Logic is a consequence.
But now that we are telling that emotions play a vital role in decision making, so how do we balance these emotions so that we don't get a second thought while making a decision?
Again, I told you, the second thought is a separate decision making process happens. Just because you made a decision doesn't mean that there won't be consequences. Okay? Whether your decision is success or failure doesn't depend on decision itself. It depends upon how you handle the consequences of your decision. Okay? Every decision is good or bad only based on how well you can handle the consequence. It really doesn't matter whether a decision is right or wrong, good or bad. These moral judgments don't play any role in the success. If I made a very bad decision, but I handle the consequence very well and create success there, then is the decision right or wrong?
Neither right, not wrong, but you made it right.
That's it. So it's we who make it right. It's not the decisions that makes anything right or wrong. So taking a decision doesn't mean that my responsibility is done. I have taken a decision, it's over. No. That's the starting point. How you handle the consequences will decide whether the decision will give you success or failure.
Well, I really appreciate for your insights that you have given us for right decision making, or better decision making, I would say.
Conscious decision making.
Right, absolutely, conscious decision making. I hope viewers, you like this concept, this kind of programs. I really would appreciate if you could share, like and subscribe to our channel, and also share to those who want to make conscious decisions. Thank you. This is Idris, and along with me Ayushi, and a big thank you to Mr. Veda Vyas.
Thank you.
Podcast.